The following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Defion Productions podcast. I'm your host, the hardest working nobody in Bitcoin, Don. We have a very special episode today. We have a guest in studio. You've heard me talk many times about the differences in comparing Bitcoin and real estate. We got a real estate guy with some experience, much more experience than I have. So he's going to do some schooling for me on what it takes to be successful in that realm. Hopefully we're going to have a good conversation and I can help educate on some of the things that Bitcoin's doing, and we can talk about some of that stuff as well. Missed last week. We were off for a week. I do apologize, but we are back live. We can jump into the charts. There hasn't been much price action, honestly, in the past 2 weeks. We're kind of range bound between about 85 at the low and about 91. I think in the last 2 weeks is about as high as we got. This morning we were at 90, sitting at 88.5 right now. In the last 7 days, we're actually up 2.7%. You got the total market cap of crypto back over 3 trillion, 3.14 trillion market cap. Fear and greed index is basically the same, sitting at 25. Fear. Looking at some of the altcoins, Ethereum is holding above slightly 3K. XRP under $2 at 190. And the rest of these shitcoins are doing shitcoin things. We can jump right in. I can introduce our guest. We have Nick Ricciazzi in studio. If you follow me on Facebook, we've gone back and forth and had some spirited debates and conversations in regards to some of the things that I've said about real estate that obviously somebody that knows a hell of a lot more than me would take some issue with. So we've had some good back and forth. And as I've said many times before, anybody that wants to come on the podcast and talk about their experiences with real estate, open invitation, and Nick jumped right at the opportunity to come in and talk. So I'm really excited to have this conversation. I'll let him introduce himself and a little bit of his experience. Nick, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming in the studio and doing this live. Tell the viewers a little bit about your how you got into real estate and a little bit about your experiences with the real estate.
First of all, thanks, Don. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
I got back into real estate in about 2019. I had a lawn business, and I had to have somewhere to go take my business. Because I was using my house as my business, and my neighbors weren't too happy with it. So I ventured off and tried to find some property, and I found some property on Mile City Road, and I had a bar on there, and I had to knock it down.
Okay.
And then I had to put, I don't know, about $10,000-$20,000 into it, and it was like $26,000 to knock it down. It was only like $26,000 to purchase the property.
So when you, I just have a quick question because I know that like when you buy something and you demolish it, there's a pretty decent cost to demolition. You can't just demolition something. You got to pay.
Yep, it was $26,000.
And is that like permits and stuff?
Yep, I had some guy. Some places wanted like $50,000, $60,000, but I just
shopped
around, and this guy said he'll do it for like $26,000. Like perfect. He knocked down a tree or two and a couple other things. And then I kind of just built it up. There was like asbestos in there, so I just did that myself, sprayed it down, and did a whole bunch of my stuff myself as much as I could, and then brought some people in to make it a shop and an apartment that I have up there now that I rent out. And then I use the other shop. There's another garage there that I use for my own business that I hope one day to rent out. And then I was hoping to put a third property on there. This is my long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
There's these things called little houses. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah, Elon Musk is he's like a 7,000. Was it like how much do they cost?
Like 30 to 40.
30. Okay, 30 or 40.
And they look like $1 million houses, but they're super small.
I think he wanted to do like 7,000 of them somewhere. I forget where, but they look like little pods or something like that.
They're small. They're like 700 square feet, 1,000 square feet. I think it's under 1,000 square feet. They're real small. It's for like a single person. If you're know where to raise a family, but like if you're just starting out, it's just something to something to look into. Something I was looking into to put on my property to have 3 things to rent out. Because I bought an acre on my property, and I have I have the one garage now, and the other one's the garage and the apartment. So if I had a third thing, I could eventually retire.
Yeah,
retire
for sure. Yeah.
So I have 3 things on one property. But I bring in $1,400 a month just on the one property, and then my property I could probably rent out for my garage maybe $1,000. It's 3.5 garages, but I put all my lawn equipment and everything in there.
What do you think the advantages of owning real estate are? Like, what are some of the perks or the advantages that you would somebody would be enticed to like look into investing in it?
Well, it's like a second income or another income. I think if you start small, like even if you bought a little, like a piece of land, and then put some property on it, like 10 years later or whatever, pay the property off, and then build on it. It's something that's feasible for the average person.
What about obstacles? Like, what would the obstacles be for somebody that's just getting started and wanted to invest in real estate? What do you think some of the obstacles would be?
Well, you have to shop around. You don't want to buy any property. You could buy something that's, if you came down the falls down here, bought something down here, that'd be bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, for some of the viewers here that may be watching from other spots, we're in New York, which is probably not the greatest place to do business, period, because we're not very friendly. Politics being one of the big reasons why. Do you have any experience in any other states, like maybe not yourself, but other people that you've talked to that own real estate in other areas that maybe have a better time because of how things may be? Because I know there's a lot of regulations here that just make it really, really
so
hard.
Much red tape you got cut. It's tough. Like for my property, I'm in Lewiston, and there was like so many. Like they wanted
just the taxes alone are pretty expensive.
I pay about $3,000 for my property there, a little under.
It's actually not bad.
It ain't too bad at all. But if you put some loopholes, like if you put wheels on property, like if you have like a trailer or something, there's no taxes on it. They won't charge you tax for that piece of property.
Really?
Yeah. It just like if you talk to your accountant or whatever, there's always some kind of.
So one of the good things I would say, probably we were talking off camera too, is to invest in a good accountant that can give you those
100%.
They
can get you
loopholes and
100%. There's always savings that they can save you on that other people can't.
So I've talked on this podcast many times about how I view, and many other Bitcoiners are viewing, Bitcoin as digital real estate. Okay. And as I'm speaking and you want to ask questions, just go ahead and fire them off. Let me ask you this first before we get started. On a scale of 1 to 10, knowledge of Bitcoin, where would you say that you sit at?
Not very well.
That's good.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay. So when we talk about Bitcoin as digital real estate, we're talking like scarcity wise, right? If you were able to own, the example we give a lot is like if you were able to go back to like the 17 or 1800s and buy prime real estate on Manhattan and hold it for generations and pass it down to your family, that would be like an invaluable thing that you'd be able to do, getting in on that prime real estate property, because Fifth Avenue or whatever piece on Manhattan is just worth so much, infinite times more than it was when it would have been available back at that time. And, we view Bitcoin as being like this new technology with a scarcity model that we've never seen before. The scarcest thing we've ever had prior to Bitcoin would be gold. And gold is very scarce, but we don't know exactly how scarce it is, right? We don't know, like the joke is like Elon Musk is going to go up into space and like hit some rock and he's going to find gold and it's going to be abundant. Like very excessive, very extreme, but like not out of the realm of a potential possibility. But, gold has been phenomenal money for 5,000 years, right? My story, gold and silver, is how I found Bitcoin. I was a huge gold and silver guy up until like right after the great financial crisis. Like I wasn't in politics at all. I was like a nomad. Like I had no politics. I didn't give a shit about anything. I was terrible with money until the world collapsed in 2008 in the middle of my working career. And I'm like, this isn't right. Something's not right, right? So then I went down the rabbit hole of like our system being a joke and something's not right with it. And then I find gold and silver and I start doing my investing there. And I found Bitcoin in the Silver News newsletter. That's how I found it for the first time. Very first time I said, this is an effing scam. There's no way that this is going to be anything. And it was like $50 a token back then when I first saw it, right? I didn't get in until it was $1,000 a token, like 20 times higher than my first time. So like everybody's story is like, oh, I could have had Bitcoin like wherever. And it's like, I could have had it at $50.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I did my first purchases and I didn't understand what I was buying. I was buying it, and we'll talk about this too. I was buying it as number go up technology. I wanted to put in X amount of dollars and get out X amount of dollars. The first 5 years of my Bitcoin experience was how much fiat money can I make? That's where I was from 2014 to 2019, 20. How many dollars can I make and how much can I put in my bank account? That was my goal, right? So I buy it from 1,000. My first 13 months of Bitcoin, it goes from 1,000 to $199. So I'm buying it all the way down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's going the wrong direction.
Right.
This isn't really what I wanted. This isn't what I was doing this for. But as I'm doing that, I'm learning about like what it is I'm buying, scarcity models. I understood scarcity from gold and silver, like that part, but like diving into like the 21 million, diving into like they can't print any more of it, and then understanding like money printing from 2008 up until 2020. Like my mind is like, we printed 789 billion of TARP money. That was
Right.
like, I can't believe they did that. There's
Not
no
even
way
there.
they'd ever do that again, all
Right.
that crazy stuff. Fast forward to 2020, right? 2020 is really when the light bulb went off for me. And where like the whole digital real estate stuff and the whole like scarcity model of Bitcoin really clicks. I was selling Bitcoin up until 2020. Like I kept some, but I'd sell some. I put money in the bank. I buy a house in 2021. Like right before the interest rates change. And I can you put this up here that I got? I'm sharing on my screen real quick. If you look up here, it might be a little bit difficult to see. Where my cursor is over here, 2017, the average home price was about $337,900, which was 24 Bitcoin at Bitcoin's price in 2017. 2021, the price of a home was about 414, which was 9 Bitcoin. In 2025, this is actually old. The price is actually closer to 450 now, but this says 410,800, which was 5 Bitcoin at the time there. So the price, and this is like what we talk about, like the fiat dollar, the price of Bitcoin and the price of dollars. Home prices priced in dollars are going up, which is why real estate is a good place to park some cash. Priced in Bitcoin, the Bitcoin price keeps going down because it takes less and less Bitcoin because the Bitcoin price goes up. The dollar buying power is going down. So it takes more dollars to buy property. It takes more dollars to buy Bitcoin. So the dollar price goes up, but the Bitcoin price goes in the other direction because of the scarcity model of Bitcoin. Real estate is a great place to invest and park money, but your home that you live in shouldn't necessarily be that. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
The place that you lay your head, you're paying that money so you can buy safety, you can buy comfort. You're buying all of that, but somewhere along the way, the model got so broken that people are buying houses and their house becomes their biggest asset. Or at least they view it that way. The assets and liabilities are a different conversation. For me, I bought my house in 2021. That's actually December 23rd is when I moved in. What's today? Tomorrow is 4 years that I've been in my home. If you go on Zillow, right? And again, Zillow's, it's not perfect, but it gives you a rough estimate. If I go on Zillow,
Right.
from when I bought my home in 2021, it's $120,000 more than when I bought it 4 years ago. That's because
It's
the system
COVID.
is broken.
Well, COVID, it's shot up. COVID.
And what happened during COVID?
Everything went up.
They printed
Some amount of money.
10 times more than what they printed. Actually, 12 or 13 times more than what they printed in the GFC. So printing all this extra money has created asset prices to go up. So me and you are both asset owners. You're on the side of the real estate. I'm on the side of Bitcoin, but we're in assets. If you're holding just dollars, right? Like if you're holding $100,000 in real estate in 2020, let's go to 2020. You put $100,000 in 2020 into an investment. You pick real estate, I pick Bitcoin. And then somebody else, the third guy, picks cash. He just puts it in the bank, right? me and you from 2020, you in real estate, me in Bitcoin, have far outpaced the guy that's just sitting with cash. He might have 100 with interest rates being where they were. He might have 120,000 in the bank. He might have made 20 grand in 5 years, whatever the case may be. Where me and you are sitting on much higher multiples because we're actually in assets.
Yep.
Right? So we're in an economy now where our dollar is so broken, you are punished if you're not investing in assets. Here's the problem with our economy. Depending on what survey you look at, 60 to 80% of our economy is living what you would call paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
They can't afford to buy assets.
Because renters is so much. It's like $1,800, $2,000 to rent.
Yeah, and that's in this area. Can you
This
imagine
area.
where it's at in
Yeah,
some of these other areas?
Yeah.
So people are being squeezed and they're in positions where they can't put their money into real estate. They can't put their
get
money in Bitcoin and they can't get ahead and they feel like they're behind.
Yeah. Always treading water. You said paycheck to paycheck. They're treading water. And
I'm sure you know people in your life. I definitely know people in my life
100%.
that struggle. And then you jump on social media and people complain about how things are. And sometimes it's tough. Like you got to put yourself in their shoes because like we're investing in real assets.
Right.
Like you have real estate and I have Bitcoin, and we're watching those prices go up because the dollar is going down.
Right.
So we're stuck in this place too that we have to recognize that the value in dollars goes up, but the buying power with those dollars has gone down. So the 100,000 in 2020 doesn't buy today what it did 5 years ago. We know from inflation,
Yep,
the
yep,
9%,
right.
what they
Nothing.
told us,
Yeah,
which
right.
was probably much higher. That 100K might buy realistically 50,000
That's
of
it.
what it bought just 5 years ago.
Sure.
So people are being punished by not investing in these types of investments. So, the real estate, it's open to people, but it's not necessarily open to everyone. And again, I don't understand it enough to know how you get in and do those types of things. But Bitcoin for sure, anybody that has a cell phone can just jump on and buy
Right.
$10
Yeah, but
worth of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, I bought $1 the other day, and right out the gate, it was worth less than $1.
Mm-hmm.
The second you bought it, and then when you cash it in,
Well,
you
I mean,
lose more.
you're also paying fees.
And then when you cash
you
it
are,
in,
you are paying fees.
when you cash it in, you had to pay another fee.
You would if you're buying it with the mindset of cashing it in for dollars. But here's the thing that we can probably come to a common place with real estate and we were talking about this a little bit off camera. When you buy really good assets, right? And again, you get blinded by the fact that 2 months ago Bitcoin was worth 126 and it's worth 88 today. That's 2 months of volatility.
Right.
It's done that since I've been in 2014 to today. It's done that probably 50 times.
Right.
Where I've been in for 5 or 6 70% drops, and then it comes back.
At what point do you cash it in at? At what age? Or what point in your life?
Well, here's the thing. I like I said, up until 2020, I was doing the cash outs. Now, it's the idea of like how wealthy people manage their assets. They never sell their good assets. Like if you have real estate, and you know this as being a real estate guy, when you have a really good property that makes you money, you don't want to get rid of it because it's providing you cover.
Right.
And the other problem is, like you said, one of the dangers of selling, or one of the things that go against you when you sell, is that you have to pay the tax man, right?
Yeah.
So if I take one Bitcoin and I sell one Bitcoin for 88 grand, I don't see 88 grand, not even just because of the fees. I got to pay Uncle Sam
Right.
20%
Yeah.
for long-term capital gains.
Sure.
So 20% of 88 would be what? Almost 20 grand, 17,000. I have to pay the government just to sell that asset.
Right.
And we both know that there's ways that you can get capital without selling,
it, right.
and I would pay less
Sure.
than 20% to do
Yep,
that. I could go,
100%.
and again, your real estate, you can actually do better right now leveraging it than I can with the Bitcoin.
Yeah, because you can do
As of right now, because the lending isn't mature. I got to use platforms that are going to charge me about somewhere between 8 to 10%. You can go get a home equity line of credit for less than that right now.
Well, your stuff you can write off too, like repairs and stuff you want to like build up if you want to, build your house or build your apartment. Like I have a small apartment, and it's mainly a shop for the guy I rent it to.
Can you hear him on there, because he's a little? I'm just making.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, the guy I rent to, he was staying there. Now he don't stay there no more. But it's just basically his shop where he does all his business. So and it's $1,400 a month. So the way I see it is, it's a small income coming in for me, or a second income coming in for me, like every single month. Where like Bitcoin, you don't ever, like, when do you see the gain? Like, when you're 20 years from now, 10 years from now, like, I'm looking for something to survive. Like I said, it's so hard to live for today. So I'm
Cash flow is definitely a positive in the real estate box, whereas every day with Bitcoin, you're not getting the cash flow. You're getting the price appreciation on the asset over time. You're buying the asset to hold for years. Obviously, anybody that bought in October is down currently, but there's been many times throughout its history where people have bought and the price has gone down only to go up 2, 3, 4x from there. I mean, in 2022, the price went from 69K to 15K, and then from 15K in less than 3 years to 126K. Right. So we could see I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin still went down to like 70K at some point.
So why not just cash out like when it hit next boom? And then I know it's hard to time. Who knows who can time the market? But if you think, like they say, like after it goes down, it goes up again. So why not play that?
When would you sell one of your properties?
Well, I'm just saying for Bitcoin, I wouldn't sell it till I would probably give it to my kids, basically.
Same thing I'm going to do with Bitcoin.
Because, well, how are you going to, like, for me, my property's giving me money now. Do you know what I mean? So I'm getting an income. And then when I hand off to my kids, they're going to get the same income, or, whatever they decide to do with it when my day finally comes. But like with the Bitcoin, you're just putting it away, I guess, for your kids, but I'm looking for it for...
Well, I mean, I'm putting the asset away, but like I said, there's ways that you can leverage the coins that you have to produce an income now that can produce more by taking the money, the fiat money that you get to buy more of that asset. And that's where you would use it to get cash flow if you need a cash flow now. And obviously you'd want to do it in times like now where the price is down. The mistake that people make in many markets, whether it's Bitcoin, real estate, stocks, is when the price is going parabolic, then they take a loan against it. That's when it's dangerous.
Yeah, sure.
Because you can get margin called in those type of spots. You see the euphoria, like, oh my God, the price just went up. It's up to $100,000. Let me take a 50% loan, and now the price drops to 88, and they're like, you got to put up more collateral, or we're going to take the whole thing that you got. And it's the same thing with real estate. Like, people can get over leveraged with real estate and lose their properties because they put it up as collateral. So you have to be very smart in how you make the decision and how you're going to use your asset to leverage it for whatever it is your purposes are. Like it might be to buy more of the Bitcoin, or it might be just to I want to get $40,000 for this year to pay some things off, or it doesn't matter, 50, whatever number. I'm throwing numbers out there, but it depends on where you're at in your life, depends on what your purposes are for things. But like any other good asset, you don't want to, like for me, that's the anchor of my portfolio. The same way as like the real estate is the anchor for your portfolio. I don't want to sell my anchor. I would rather, if I had to sell in a pinch, something else that I have that I don't care much about to get cash right now and then leverage against this, or just make do with what I have and keep adding to it. Because that's what I do now. Like every month I make small ads, like I would do with like someone does with a 401k.
What about
the same sort of thought process?
Sorry, what about using your Bitcoin, like I said, to buy property, like leverage it? Would you ever think about getting something like that?
There's actually, and I wanted to talk to you about this today because I wasn't sure how much you knew about it. You know Grant Cardone, right? You know who Grant Cardone is?
No.
You don't know who Grant Cardone is? Oh wow, okay. So he's like one of the most popular people on the internet, and he's one of the biggest real estate developers in the country. He's got a huge portfolio of just regular real estate, probably in the hundreds of billions. And he just recently, within the last like 6 months, created the very first, and you'll love this, created the very first fund that combines Bitcoin and real estate.
Nice.
He takes the cash flow that he's getting from his real estate fund, and he's buying Bitcoin with the cash flow. And he's taking, the past 2-3 years were very good. So when you're doing that, instead of holding the money in the bank or paying it to investors and stuff like that, he's buying an appreciating asset. So when the price of Bitcoin goes up, he can borrow against both the portfolio of the real estate and the portfolio of the Bitcoin. And he's got a percentage figured out. I don't know exactly the math on it. He's not taking every single dollar and putting it in there. He's still buying more real estate, but he's also buying real estate and he's buying Bitcoin, because for him, he's not selling either in like the next year or two. This is like a decades long endeavor that he's doing. So if he can replicate with Bitcoin, like if he would have been doing this 10 years ago, like the Bitcoin part of his portfolio would be astronomically high because Bitcoin was in hundreds of dollars and now it's worth, almost $100,000. If it continues to progress the same way, like the real estate, even if it slows down, which it will, it's not going to do 100x. Right. It's going to slow down. But now we're in the territory of like we can do a 2x or we can do a 3x. The same way as like people thought like with Amazon stock, like when Amazon stock went from like $30 to $3,000 or to like nobody thought it was going to do those types of things, and then it splits and then it, and it keeps appreciating because the company keeps getting better and better and better, and they realize that nobody compete with that. So Bitcoin will do something similar, but on a smaller scale. Its return of investment is going to be less. But now you have somebody who's recognizing that you have real estate that's going to continue to appreciate because the dollar is going to go down and people have to put their money in things. And you have Bitcoin that's doing the same thing. It's appreciating in value, much more volatility, but you can merge those two things and make your investors tons and tons of money, which is at the end of the day what he's trying to do.
It's a lot better. What you want to be diversified as much as possible. The more things.
The diversification theory is, I always push back on that. I think diversification is great for people that have large portfolios.
Yeah, but you don't want to put your eggs in one basket.
Well, I mean, look at Elon Musk, look at Jeff Bezos, look at Mark Zuckerberg. Those are guys that they didn't diversify. They went all in one idea, and they became, insanely rich on that one idea. But look at a guy that's running a business, right? Somebody that's running a business that goes all in on his business, puts everything, blood, sweat, tears, capital, finance into that business. Like, he's not diversified. He's going all in on what he believes in.
Yeah.
So when people, the most successful people, they go all in on an idea, accumulate wealth, and then when they've accumulated the wealth, then they go into defense mode. Now I don't want to lose my wealth, so then you diversify. The problem is people that haven't acquired wealth yet are told that they should diversify, so they put a little bit in everything, and then even if something hits, they don't have enough in there for it to make a big difference in their life for them to multiply that, right?
But it's about safety, though. People don't want risk. I went through risk and I got burned.
Well, your risk is investing in something that you don't understand.
Like stock market, they say stock market every 7.5 years you're going to double your money, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, but you have to understand. It's true for people that know what they're doing.
Right. Sure.
If you spend the time to understand it, which I won't do and haven't done, and recognize that, and we talked about that off camera. Like, I don't have the time for that, nor would I. So I'm not going to put a lot of capital in the stock market because I don't understand it well enough to make money for me, right? So if you do spend it, like for me, for Bitcoin, I've spent, 30,000, 40,000 hours studying. I've immersed so much time and energy into it. I believe in it with so much conviction that it's not risk for me because of the belief that I have. Somebody that doesn't understand it as much will look at me like I'm crazy. Like, how could you put your money into something like that has that much volatility and think all these things, which I respect because they're not seeing it through my eyes. The same way as like, it's not fair for me to like make comments or think about real estate in a way because I don't see it through your eyes.
So what about like the safety of like, say your key? So you have to put it like in a safety deposit box or something, right?
Oh, there's different ways that people. There's different ways that people like. I don't want to disclose on camera the way that I do it.
No,
I can tell you off camera. I can tell you off camera, but
how do people do it? Like, what are you supposed to?
Some people use what's called multi-sig. So multi-sig would be 2 or 3 different either people or places that would have to input a certain combination for the Bitcoin to be spent.
No, but how do you keep it safe? Like, you can't keep it in your house. Someone breaks your house, you're done. It's done.
I mean, some people put it. They have these things that are called. It's really cool. It's called stamp seed, where you can stamp it into steel, and you can stamp it in different places. So there's like
in your house.
Well, you could keep it in 3 different locations or 2 different locations, or whatever the case may be. But the other thing too is like just having those words. If you don't know what to do with those words, or you don't know where they go or where to input them, I mean, you'd have to know a lot of different things to be able to use them to get access. And then if you lost them, some people memorize them, like some people, but like for me, I pretty much know, like I've had them for so long. I know my 12 words.
Right.
But I'm going to get older though, and I might get
Right.
dementia, so that's not going to be a good strategy.
Yeah,
Like
right.
some people are like, just memorize it. Like and it's
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah, it works when I'm like 47, but like if I
Right.
do this until I'm like 75, like I could get hit by a bus and,
Right.
and then they're lost.
Everything, yeah.
So there's like, it's the same. Like people have, you have to treat it like you're treating gold bars. You have to treat it like you're treating cash, like in a safe. Like you have to have your security measures the same way you'd have that stuff.
Yeah, but you can put it like in a bank. Can you put that in
You
put it in a
could
bank?
put it in a safety deposit box.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. But you just want to make sure that it doesn't get into the wrong hands.
Yeah, right. That's I'm too nervous about things. Too many crazy people out there. Get your house broken into, and then they have your keys. And then what do you do?
I've had self custody, a seed phrase, pass phrase since 2017, and I haven't had a problem. I used exchanges until I was on Coinbase from December of 2013 when I first got in until 2017. It took me 4 years to understand how to do it, how it worked, the responsibility factor, and like I said, I spent a lot of the first part of doing this podcast, the first year, telling people that's the only way to do it. And I've since matured that stance, and people smarter than me have said, like, not everybody's ready for that responsibility to have a 12 seed or 24 seed
Yeah,
passphrase. And,
sure.
losing those keys makes people nervous, or somebody stealing, all the things. And we have progressed for sure. I can admit on camera, we have progressed to a place where a Coinbase or a Gemini they're so regulated now, and it's pretty safe, and the odds of you losing your Bitcoin on those are so slim. It's not zero. It's not like the same way as like if you have stock on Charles Schwab, or you have stock on TD Ameritrade. It's not zero that you can lose it, but it's very slim. The odds are very low that you're going to get screwed by TD Ameritrade. I mean, people have their 401k accounts in Fidelity. Like, it's extremely low that you're going to lose your 401k, but it's not zero.
Sure, of
It's
course.
not zero. So I think it's probably the same with Bitcoin now. And almost everybody, definitely in 2025, that's reached out to me and I've helped set them up, they've all gone through either Gemini or Coinbase. And I think that's a good place for people to start. And for probably a lot of people, that's all they'll ever do. They'll never get to the other part. But for me, what attracted me outside of just like making more money at the beginning, like as an investment, what really piqued my interest to start understanding it was the fact that it allowed me to have ownership over something and to be sovereign. Because the one thing that Bitcoin does provide that real estate does not provide, and you know this as an owner and me as a homeowner, you never truly own your property.
Right,
You
like
can
Texas.
have the bank paid off,
Right.
but stop paying taxes and see what happens.
Well, hopefully Trump says there's no more income taxes on the houses, right?
And in Florida, well, I'll tell you what, Florida in DeSantis is moving in a direction where that could be true for Florida.
Let's hope it happens.
I don't think Trump will ever be able to do it for many different reasons federally, but there may be some states like Florida being one of them that may make this a different conversation
That'd be
where
great.
you may be allowed to actually, and my parents live in Florida and they're super excited for this,
Yeah, that's a state to live in.
to be able to not, and then when you would actually own it, right? But as of today in 2025,
Yep.
the only thing on planet Earth that you can actually own that nobody can confiscate from you, like I can get arrested tomorrow, God forbid. I can get arrested and convicted of a crime and go serve 20 years in prison. And they can take my 401k that I have. They can take my house from me. They can take all my cash. They can take my bank accounts. Everything I have that's got tied to my number, Social Security, they can take all of it from me. The only thing they can is my Bitcoin. They can't take it. Even if they had that 24 seed passphrase, I have it in such a way that they wouldn't even know the first way to even use it or where to input it to get my coins. So that for me is like so invaluable, because I feel like, especially in today's society, there's just so many places that you're just like, you get screwed every other way. Like, I don't trust my government.
No.
I don't trust the banks. I don't trust institutions. I don't trust many people. So Bitcoin is trustless. I don't need to trust anything. I have to trust myself. Like, I have to trust me.
But so versatile. So
It is, but so is every. I mean, you mean volatile.
Volatile.
Yeah, it is volatile in fiat dollars, because the dollar, the United States dollar, is what we call a melting ice cube. The buying power of the dollar goes down hour by hour,
Sure.
day by day, and Bitcoin is the truth serum of the dollar, more so than anything else.
They're trying. They're trying.
It's a truth serum in that every other asset is manipulated, and I'm talking about there's manipulation in Bitcoin. We could talk about that, but I'm talking about the starting and stopping of the markets is manipulated. Stock markets on Monday through Friday is open from 9:30 in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's traded through that window, and after that, me and you, regular dudes, we have no access to trading it. It's not tokenized. We're in that window. That's all we can do. Real estate, you have to go to market and sell the property, and you have to bring the house to market, put it up for sale to see what you're going to get bids and offers and stuff like that. So there's that even commodity markets, they have starts and stop times. Bitcoin is the only thing we have that trades 24/7. Like on Christmas Day, every single market is closed. You can't trade anything on Christmas Day, but you can trade Bitcoin on Christmas Day. And again, I'm not advocating for trade. I don't trade. I buy and hold. I don't buy and sell. I don't try to leverage trade a bit. Like there's people that will take their Bitcoin and leverage it and try to make more Bitcoin, and they do that with the shit coins and crypto. I've never traded anything a day in my life. I've never tried to be a day, what people say a
day trader.
They've made a couple trades and they think they're a day. I have some friends on Facebook who think they're day traders, and I will assure you that they are not.
Right.
The best day traders in the world, you don't know who they are.
Yep.
They're not telling you that.
Why would they?
They're doing it because they're spending
inside information.
They're spending 40 hours day trading, and they're spending 40 hours studying for those day trades.
Of course.
Right? So they're not out there selling you you're not going to buy a course from some day trader because he's making too much money to sell you some $99 course that he's going to.
100%.
You know what I mean? There's so much fraud. I will say, Bitcoin and crypto, there's so much fraud.
So much fraud.
Way more than any other area because it's new. I mean, 2009 is when the first transaction. It's so brand new. Bitcoin is so far behind gold in terms that gold has been around for 5,000 years.
Right.
It has such a huge head start. Even the stock market, we're going on a couple hundred years of stocks. Real estate's been around for a long time. 17 years is infancy for an asset class. So we're still learning how to navigate all this stuff. I have seen, which is, I don't know how to feel about it, but there is some talk about tokenizing stocks to make the stock market 24/7. There's some talk of that. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I will tell you, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not sure. I haven't formed an opinion. I don't know, honestly. I feel like it's good because it would give more realism to stocks, because I feel like it's easy to manipulate the trading through those windows.
The downtime.
And people that want to make money can make money and make people like me and you trying to get in there lose it. And I think if on a random Saturday afternoon, if Iran gets nuked by Israel and you can see Tesla stock drop or these other stocks get hit the same way as Bitcoin and crypto gets hit, then it makes everything much more fair in that regard. But then on the flip side of that, this gambling society that we're sitting in here, where everybody got DraftKings and Polymarket, and it's just another way for people to
distraction, lose money, nothing,
gamble their money away.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. You want to put this chart up real quick? We can show this. This is a chart here that shows real estate prices, and I picked. If you look right here, where I have it right over here, where this cursor is down here, can you kind of see that?
Yep.
That's 1971. That's where we got off the gold standard. The average home price in 1971 was about 27 grand.
Jesus.
If you go just 50 years, basically our lifetime. Me and you are almost 50.
Yeah.
So in our lifetime, the price has gone from 28,000. And this is more accurate than the last one I showed. It's about 514,200. Now, again, we're in Niagara Falls, New York.
Yeah, not that much.
You're not getting homes for that price, but nationally you are. The national average. We're, as much as we complain about this area, and we do, and there's a lot to complain about, the home prices here aren't terrible.
Extremely cheap.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
The only problem and the reason why is because wages aren't as high here.
Right.
You're not going to make as much money here as you are where there's where the $500,000 home is. There's much more six-figure salaries.
Bigger
for
cities.
People. Yeah. There's much more six-figure salaries. Where here, you make six figures here, you're doing very well.
Very well.
You're doing very well here. Where other places you're not. You're just getting by. But you come off the gold standard. our dollar's backed by nothing. The full faith and credit of the United States government, which in my eyes is worth nothing. The government's worth jack shit in my eyes.
It's going down. It's
So
going south.
we're hurt by the fact that, and again, we won't talk too much politics. I think me and you, I think you're a little bit more behind where I was, because we're more of a Trump supporter, and I was more of a Republican, like conservative values supporter, and I've been let down by the side that I thought, like, the left went crazy.
They're communist.
10 years ago, probably. Yeah. So I left. I had left leaning social. I was more left leaning in the way I viewed social things, but they went so crazy,
so bad,
that I just threw that to the side, and I was like leaning more, because I've always been a fiscal conservative. I can't say always. When I got myself together financially and I learned about money, I realized my values financially were conservative. Right. So as I realized I was fiscally conservative, I leaned into conservative values, and I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, that's a good human being. And
Republicans mean money.
And I leaned into that side. And then Trump comes along. He's a populist. Yep. He's more populist than Republican, but he's the Republican guy. And the first year or two, I was like, yeah, go Trump. And then I realized he wasn't conservative in regards to finance. He spent just as bad as the Democrat side did, but he rejected the wokeism, which I liked. This term here he's done some things. And I've said it. He's done some things I really like.
He's selling out, though.
He's done some things I really like, but he's also done a lot of things very haphazardly. The Bitcoin things that the crypto things that he's done have been.
He's backing it.
No, he has, and a lot of my compadres in Bitcoin love him for that.
Yeah.
But what his family did on election weekend was just so egregious. He hurt everyday normal people that bought his bullshit meme token.
Right.
Like the Trump coin and the Melania coin's down 99.7%.
Jesus.
Like I'll go in here and we can look. I'll put her token in here and we can search it, and I can show you how bad this is. Melania token all time is down 94. It's actually up a little bit. It's down 94.52% since when it got released.
Jesus.
And it released at like $8.48 a token. It's worth 10 cents right now.
Oh my God.
And that was and
so isn't it buying time now?
People were so excited. No, it's definitely not. It's a shit coin. People were so excited election weekend, and Trump took advantage of that.
Yeah, 100%.
He releases the Trump token, and then he releases the Melania token.
Probably hot in the beginning, right? It's so hot, and then
of course, and they made a ton of money. Yep. And the Trump family has gone pretty much all in on crypto, and they've made tons of money on crypto. They've made like 6 or 7 billion, maybe 8 billion. And again, nothing. There's some ethics and maybe legalities with that, but overwhelmingly, like, his sons are doing it. It's as legal as Nancy Pelosi doing what she does. There's nothing against it. So it's like the things I complained about the the Elizabeth Warrens, the Nancy Pelosi's. It's like, well, he's doing kind of the same thing. So it's like they're all kind of doing the same stuff.
It's all for money.
So, Trump brings in Elon Musk to rein in some spending, and then you realize that, like, the money he saved on Doge went right to
somewhere
defense.
else. Yeah.
Right? Like, we upped the defense exactly the same as what we saved for Doge.
Just moves it.
So we're not, and then you're talking about, like, the tariff money that you're making, which you would think would go towards satisfying some of our debts. No, we're just going to give it to everybody.
Give it to us, yeah.
It's like, well, what's the point of saving money then?
What's the point of? I just don't understand why we give it to other countries when we have veterans that are starving and.
Well, the money that we give to other countries, this is the real part that I have a problem with. It's not taxpayer dollars. They're creating that money out of thin air, which makes inflation go up.
Of course,
it's another tax that we have to pay.
Yep.
We don't bring enough money in to cover what we pay for in this country.
Of course,
right? Yep. We're $2 trillion
under, yeah.
Bringing in tax-wise, as bad as taxes are, we spend so egregiously. And then we give Israel money, and then we give Ukraine money, and that money is not taxpayer money because we're not even bringing enough in.
Sure.
They're hitting the keyboard, and they're expanding the money supply because we realized in 2008 that's what we do, and then in 2020 that's what we do. So every time money goes out, it's not me or you paying it from our taxpayer dollars. It's me and you paying it when we go to the grocery store.
Yep.
Or we go to the store to buy something.
Yeah, pay it in the end.
So that's the egregious part. And if you, again, to get back to the beginning conversation, if you're not investing in real estate, if you're not investing in Bitcoin, if you're not investing in some stocks, the Mag 7, if you're not investing in the Teslas and the Alphabets and the Amazons, if you're not putting your money in those stocks that carry the market, you're getting killed. You're getting killed, which I hate the fact that I know many people that are getting killed because they can't afford to invest. And even the ones that can afford to put money in their 401k, the ones that do, right? The people that do put their money in, they can't touch it for 30 years.
Yeah, they get killed.
They put it in their 401k, and it's like, what is that doing for them right now?
But they
today?
watch it go down. Watch it go down. And
Even if it goes up, like, what do they can't, if they want to
well, you
borrow
can't get
against
to
it, they get hit with
64
penalties.
or whatever, 65.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of ways for people to leverage the money that they make and realize a better life. And for me, Bitcoin is a better life for the future, which for me will be my kids. I'll pass down to them what I've accumulated, taking some leverage along the way to realize some gains as well. But like, they'll get an asset that I did my blood, sweat, and tears for that they necessarily won't have to. The same way with your
Pass
real
along,
estate.
yep.
You did the hard work. You did the hard work, and you give it to them, and you just hope you pass enough knowledge off to them where they don't mess it up. You know, don't go
That's true.
sell the
If it's
property to
right.
somebody
Yep.
and undercut
Give it
yourself.
away.
Like, recognize and teach them that there's ways that you can take this asset, leverage against it, and still.
Well, you used to make money, to live.
Yeah.
You got to kill yourself like I did my whole life.
Yeah. And you know, we were both educated in the same type of school system. They didn't teach us nothing about money.
Schooling is terrible.
Not a thing.
Schools is terrible. They should taught us like checkbooks and how to live, but they don't teach you that. They teach you pi squared.
Yeah, they teach you X plus Y equals who the hell
Yeah, who
cares, because you're
cares?
never going to
Never use
need
it.
it. I got a video here. I'm going to show real quick. We can watch on the screen and you can listen to. It's Bitcoin in real estate, making homes affordable again. It's only 5 minutes long, but I think this will help kind of like see where we're coming from in regards to the Bitcoin and real estate combination that I was kind of talking about before. Make sure I get the volume up.
Real estate investing, or really real estate hoarding, is a zero-sum game. It's not good for society when wealthy individuals hoard real estate as a form of long-term savings. This happens because the dollar is designed to lose value over time, but the result is harmful to communities, countries, and humanity. This flawed incentive leads to capital misallocation and creates several problems. First, it creates a perpetual incentive for wealthy people to hoard real estate. Today, many of them save their wealth in property because they know they can't save in dollars. When people own more real estate than they need, it pushes up housing prices. Since many people do this, real estate prices are perpetually far beyond what they would be if homes were used strictly to live in rather than as investments. Ignoring Bitcoin for a moment, most people don't have another option. It's rational to hoard real estate, even more so to borrow money with a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage, buy property, and rent it out. This drives housing prices and rents higher than they should be. Even when new homes are built, investors buy them and charge market rates, keeping rents elevated. This misallocates capital, making housing increasingly unaffordable for younger people. People are forced into hoarding real estate even when it's not a good investment. Real estate comes with property taxes and maintenance costs. You're buying materials, plastic, lumber, metal, that while durable, aren't indestructible. Things break: refrigerators, HVAC systems, water heaters, and much more. Over time, these require repairs, adding to the cost of ownership, which makes renting out property necessary to cover expenses. However, with fiat money, hoarding real estate actually makes sense. But now Bitcoin exists. Unlike fiat, which supply grows at 7 to 10% annually, Bitcoin's supply is growing at less than 1% per year, and will eventually stop at 21 million coins. While real estate may go up in dollar terms, that doesn't mean it's a good way to save wealth. Real estate has been and will likely continue decreasing in value over time when measured in Bitcoin. You might buy a house today for 5 BTC, but next year it could be worth 4 BTC, and then 3 BTC, and so on. Dollars are becoming more abundant, and while real estate is too, Bitcoin remains fixed. It's the only monetary asset that can't be diluted. As more people recognize this, they'll sell their investment properties for Bitcoin. Bitcoin will continue to outperform the returns from hoarding real estate, which is already overvalued because people feel forced to invest in it. New buyers believe they must take out 30-year mortgages and buy at any price, even when the valuation doesn't make sense. But that's not true. Bitcoin has been growing at a 60% compound annual growth rate, far higher than real estate, and without the need for debt, making it less risky. It's reasonable to expect real estate valuations, whether single-family homes or apartment complexes, to drop drastically. As valuations fall, rents will decrease, making housing affordable again, probably more affordable than ever before. Investors will get better returns by holding Bitcoin instead of hoarding real estate. Bitcoin's value will rise over time, while technology deflation lowers the cost of basic consumer goods and housing, like it has been doing so for the last 16 years. Meanwhile, more homes will continue to be built, adding to affordability. Going forward, real estate shouldn't be treated like an investment. Just as people don't invest in cars and rent them out, the same will apply to homes. Cars depreciate over time, and while renting them out can generate income, it's not a great long-term strategy for most people. The same will happen with real estate. Once people realize their home's value isn't truly increasing, it just looks that way because the dollar supply is growing faster than the supply of homes, they'll store their wealth differently. Now, for the first time, there's a way to save that doesn't rely on hoarding physical assets or chasing overvalued markets. Bitcoin offers a fixed, immutably scarce form of money that grows in value as technology advances and the world becomes more efficient. As more people wake up to this reality, wealth will shift out of overvalued assets like real estate and into Bitcoin, a true store of value that doesn't decay, doesn't require maintenance, and can't be inflated away. The future isn't owning more houses, it's owning more Bitcoin. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you next time.
Now, while I agree with his sentiments, I think the timetable is going to be a little bit more than probably most people that are Bitcoin friendly or Bitcoin supporters will accept. I think for the time being, I don't see what's happening with real estate stopping in the near term, which is problematic. I do like the beginning part where he said like homes were not meant to be investments, and that the price is going and rising are causing people to not be able to buy just a home to live in, let alone real estate.
Too expensive to.
And that's problematic. That is a cause of people using real estate as an investment at the degree that they have. He's proposing to solve his Bitcoin, which I believe, but there has to be things, and I don't know, the 50-year mortgage idea is great because you're going to spend so much more in interest for people that are actually trying to live in the home. Like, you're going to spend double in the 50 years, and the equity that you can tap is going to take 20 years before you can even tap any. So I don't think that really solves anything. I mean, it's something. It's better. I do like that they propose something instead of just ignoring it. So I give them props for that, but I don't know if that's the solve. They got to figure out a way to de-incentivize the hoarding of real estate, like the BlackRocks and the companies that are coming in and just buying up neighborhoods and driving up rent. Like, that's problematic.
They're destroying neighborhoods. They're knocking down and putting up all the housing projects. And
there's share the screen again, because you had this that you wanted to share. You can actually, if you want, you can
just a chart. It shows. Just play it.
Okay.
And it just shows like from 1989. I want to say.
Is there sound for it?
It's just the music playing.
Okay. So let's go back. Start from the beginning. So U.S. national median rent versus annual household income. Yeah, man, this is basically saying the same thing, that we're both saying the same thing.
Yep.
So household income is nowhere near what rent is doing. You know, you had that dip in the 90s and then just the reacceleration. That's a scary chart, man.
It's so scary.
That's a scary chart. Like,
how they used to be so close together.
Yeah, I
Others.
mean that's us saying the same thing. I'm just saying a little bit different by basically saying that the buying power of the dollar is just melting away.
I agree.
And if you're not making more dollars, you can't keep up with the prices that are going up. So one of the biggest things you're going to buy in your lifetime is a home, or not even just buying the home. One of the biggest purchases you're going to make on a month-to-month basis is the place you lay your head, whether it's buying the home or renting it.
Yep.
So that's the biggest expense you're going to have. And if the price of that keeps going this way and your wages are going like this, something's got to give,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Eventually, something's got to give.
I don't know how kids can afford a home. Like
They can't.
They're spending $1,800, $2,000 a month.
And you know, like we our generation, not as ours a little bit, but definitely our parents' generation are like, kids are lazy, like they're staying on their parents' couch too long. It's like, well, what are they supposed to do if they can't pay?
Well, I say stay as long as you can and save up a bunch. Stay at your parents' house as long as you can, save up as much as you can, and then make that splash.
Yeah.
That would be my best advice. Like, save up as much as you can.
Would you say, like, I mean, if I had to do it all over again when I was younger, I would probably take this strategy. So I'm just throw it by you. It sounds like this is kind of what you did. Like, try to find a starter spot that has like either a condo or like something you can rent a room out, or like something where part of that first mortgage is going to be taken care of.
We'll look at side by side.
Yeah,
side by
something
side.
like that. Yeah,
apartment thing, and
that'd be your.
you live on one side and rent out the other side, and 5-10 years later, it's paid off.
Yeah. And then you make the next
and then
move.
you get another one, and then
it serves two purposes too. It's allowing you to get into a property and own
and
it
live,
and then also build a portfolio that you can
Equity.
eventually start using. Yeah, that would be. I think that today is much harder than it was.
Sure, when we started,
5-10 years ago for sure.
Even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Just from pre-COVID, everything pre-COVID was kind of normal. Then as soon as COVID hit, everything just went skyrocket. Prices of everything is just double, triple.
Yeah.
Like rent. My rent wasn't this kind of.
And I remember
it was
like 20 years ago, you could go buy
$800.
$400 or $500
Yeah,
for a
right.
spot.
Yeah.
These houses like in the hood that you're gonna have to pay $1,100 to rent.
Probably more than that. It's crazy, and they're
dodge bullets to walk in your front door. It's
not
crazy.
safe.
It's crazy. We got a couple minutes left of the pod. Shoot till about 7:30. Any questions you have of me before we wrap things up? You can think of.
My main concern
Hopefully
was
I
like,
answered some questions.
You had some questions, definitely. I have some interest into the Bitcoin. It's just the safety thing of like the no government backing it. Like tomorrow,
That's good.
something
That's
happens,
what I want.
you lose everything. So you can have 20, 30 years of investing in Bitcoin, then all of a sudden they say we're going to shut it down.
You can't shut it. How do you shut it down though?
Well, there's no government, no one. Like, so the dollar's backed by the U.S. government, right?
Yes.
So who backs up Bitcoin?
Miners mine the coins.
But there's nobody backing it. Like,
It's decentralized. You're used to centralized systems. The government backs the dollar because it's centralized. It has money control. The government can't nobody can shut Bitcoin down. The only way you shut Bitcoin down is if a meteor hits the Earth not even a meteor hitting the Earth. You got to take out satellites because even the Earth grid, the grids on the Earth isn't enough. You literally have to take out satellites, which then takes out the traditional banking system, which makes our car GPSs not work, which makes our cell phones not work. And the last thing I'm worried about is Bitcoin and everybody else, because everybody else has much bigger problems than the Bitcoin system going down. But like the aspect, again, of what attracts me to Bitcoin is nobody controls it. It's not, there is nobody backing it that calls the shots like they do with the dollar. Like every month or every couple months, we got Jerome Powell coming up to
one person.
He comes up to the stand and the markets move when he talks.
Right.
My portfolio or your portfolio moves because of one guy speaking.
Yeah,
like
one guy.
I don't like that. I don't
It's
like
not fair.
I don't like that. So, and again, Bitcoin's price in the medium term is affected by those types of things because it's still a dollar, the dollar denominated society we live in. But Trump can make changes that can change the system. Powell can make changes that change the system. Congress can enact laws that change the system. None of that exists with Bitcoin. It continues to mine blocks every 10 minutes, no matter what. Miners are incentivized to mine it because they're enriching the system both by transactions as well as coins that they mine. And it goes until 2140 for sure, because that's when the last coin will be mined, which is 115 years from today. So 2 or 3 generations from now are definitely set. If it's going to last 2 or 3 generations, it's definitely going to last beyond that.
What about like safety? They say that it's bad for the earth. I don't know nothing
About
about it.
70% of Bitcoin mined now is mined using clean energy. It used to be a thing. It really was in the early days. Not so much anymore. The traditional finance system, regular banks, do way more harm to the environment than Bitcoin will
It doesn't
ever
use
do.
a lot of electricity, or how
It
they
does.
do it?
It's proof of work. It does use a lot of electricity, but it's creating value from electricity. And there's a lot of ways now. We don't have a lot of time to get into it, but I'll really quick. There's ways now that we could use this power authority. The power authority here, like any power authority, is going to overproduce energy because it never wants to have less. About 5 to 8% of all the energy that the power authority will emit or will create in 2026 will be emitted into the atmosphere and wasted. That's harmful.
Jesus.
But they have to do that because they can't have less and have homes not have energy.
Correct.
So they purposefully go between 5 to 8% overboard and then have to emit it into the atmosphere.
Jesus.
Bitcoin miners have hitched next to places like that now and say, you know what, I'm going to pay you dollar for dollar what you pay for that to take that 5 to 8% energy and use that to create Bitcoin. So instead of it going up into the atmosphere, instead of them creating new energy, they're using energy that's already being used and using that extra energy to create
Interesting.
Bitcoin. And that's happening at scale. In Texas, there's a whole bunch of those. In Texas, in the United States of America, Texas is the Bitcoin capital of mining right now. And they're doing it at every power authority down there, hitching their wagon. And the other thing they're doing too, which for Seacoast would be really, really big, they're going to garbage dumps and they're taking the stuff that emits out and they're creating energy from that and mining off that. That's way too big for my brain. I'm not smart enough to understand how that happens.
Can't someone make a Bitcoin? Like someone like it's smart enough? Like,
What do you mean make it?
right? How do you like?
It has to be mined. It's an algorithm.
Yeah, but can someone make it? So,
They have. There's like
people that do
millions
it?
of other tokens. There's Ethereum. There's Dogecoin. They've tried and they fail
It's just
because somebody has created it and they're trying to create the immaculate conception of
But can't
Bitcoin.
you
and
pass it
can't
off as
do it.
Bitcoin?
They try and it fails. They've tried it over 1 million times. Trump coin,
Right.
that's
Yeah,
another
right. Another
attempt.
way.
But all of those are centralized.
So the government has.
It's a centralized player. It's not necessarily a government, it's an individual. The creator of Bitcoin, nobody knows who he is. I think he's dead.
I thought it was one guy who lost his stuff.
Nobody
or something.
knows. Nobody has any idea who it is. His coins have never moved from the day that they were mined in 2008. There's 1 million tokens. That's part of what's considered lost. It's 1 million of the 21 million that'll never move.
So what happens to this in space?
It's an immaculate conception. It's a beautiful creation, and society got insanely lucky, and 99% of the population still don't realize it. So many people don't own this. There's only like a couple hundred, maybe 100 million people that actually own Bitcoin, and there's only 21 million that'll ever exist. And owning one token of 20, like there's 8 billion people on the planet, and only 21 million people could own one. And there's already people.
So why
that
would
own
they
a
stop
couple
making it then
hundred
if it's a success? You said it's going to end in
because
2030 or whatever.
Scarcity. It's you want to create something that's scarce to give it. That's what gives it value. The scarcity of the coin.
So like
We have
it's like a
something-
rare card or something.
Yeah.
Like it's like a numbered card.
Yeah, kind of the
Numbered
same.
coin.
Kind of the same sort of concept. Well, man, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Don. Appreciate it.
Super
Yes, thank you.
appreciative of
Thank
you
you.
jumping on here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'll make clips throughout the week. I'll send you some when I
Cool.
make them, and then we can
Awesome.
post them on our social
Cool.
media.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Defion Productions podcast. As always, 116 times, don't trust, verify. Peace.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah, it's fun. Huh?